Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. With just 4 days left for the Lok Sabha polls to begin, temperatures continue to rise, both literally and in campaign rhetoric. For instance, for the past few weeks, the Congress has been saying that if voted to power this time, the BJP will change the constitution.
ये जो संविधान है, हिंदुस्तान की जनता की आवाज है, हिंदुस्तान के दिल की धड़कन है. इसको जिस दिन खत्म कर दिया गया, उस दिन यहां पे हिंदुस्तान नहीं बचेगा. अलग अलग स्टेट हो जाएंगे, हिंदुस्तान नहीं बचेगा. यही इनका लक्ष्य है. ये सोचते हैं कि
And it's not just Rahul Gandhi, who we just heard. This accusation has been made by several other party members who actually point to recent comments made by BJP leaders like Jyoti Mirdha from Rajasthan. While addressing a gathering, Mirdha was heard saying that several tough decisions need to be taken in the country's interest, and for that, we have to make constitutional amendments.
देश के हित में कई कठोर निर्णय लेने पड़ते हैं. उनके लिए हमें संवैधानिक बदलाव करने पड़ते हैं. अगर संविधान के अंदर हमें कोई बदलाव करना होता है, तो आप में से कई लोग जानते हैं कि उसके लिए दोनों जो हमारे सदन है, लोकसभा और राज्यसभा, दोनों की उसके अंदर अमल चाहिए होती है. लोकसभा में आज भारतीय जनता.
But yesterday, on Ambedkar Jayanti, PM Modi hit out at the Congress in the state and said that as far as the constitution is concerned, even if Baba Saheb Ambedkar comes back himself, he too cannot abolish the constitution. He also added that for the government, our constitution is Gita, Ramayan, Mahabharat, Bible and Quran.
और जहां तक संविधान का सवाल है, आप मान के चलिए और मोदी के शब्द लिख के रखिए, बाबा साहब आंबेडकर खुद आ जाए तो भी संविधान खत्म नहीं कर सकते हैं. हमारा संविधान सरकार के लिए गीता है, रामायण है, महाभारत है, बाइबल है, कुरान है, ये सब कुछ हमारे लिए हमारा संविधान है.
Now, in the coming days, we will be talking more about the dominant political narratives, campaign strategies, and everything you need to know about the Lok Sabha polls. But today, we are dedicating this entire episode to talk about the Congress party, which has been facing a crisis of confidence. To some, this crisis finds echo in the fact that the party has still not announced its candidate from the Amethi seat in UP, which has been a bastion of the grand old party. To tell us about the Congress's preparations and campaign strategy, we are joined by Indian Express's Chief of National Political Bureau, Manoj CG. Manoj, tell us, with all the things the Congress has been saying, the allegations it has been making, tell us in what state does it find itself before the polls?
In the run-up to the actual launch of the campaign, we saw the Congress, engaged in a bitter war of words with the government over what the Congress called freezing of their bank accounts by the Income Tax Department, and in fact unilateral coercive action in the sense withdrawal of over 100 crores from their bank accounts.
All our bank accounts have been frozen. We can do no campaign work. We cannot support our workers. We cannot support our candidates. Our leaders cannot fly from one part of the country to the other. Forget fly. They can't take a railway train. And this has been done literally 2 months before the election campaign. Why has it been done?
The Congress got relief from the court. Even the IT department later told the court that it will not indulge in any coercive action till the completion of the elections. So that chapter, at least for the time being, is over. The other big issue, of course, was that the arrest of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. In January, the arrest of Hemant Soren, who is the Chief Minister of Jharkhand. So that was an issue what the opposition frames as misuse of investigating agencies, be it the ED or the CBI or the IT. How the opposition feels that the government is, using these agencies to target almost all parties of the India bloc.
देखिए, सभी दिल्ली वालों को पता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को झूठे आरोपों में गिरफ्तार किया गया है. क्यों किया गया है? क्योंकि अरविंद केजरीवाल वो शख्स हैं जो दिल्ली वालों को फ्री बिजली, फ्री पानी, अच्छे स्कूल, अच्छे अस्पताल, मोहल्ला क्लिनिक देते हैं. दिल्ली वालों में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की गिरफ्तारी के खिलाफ बहुत रोष है, बहुत गुस्सा है. और इस बार
So, of course, Congress was part of that, larger attack on the government. So these are the two main charges that the party was leveling in the run-up to, the full-fledged launch of the campaign.
And Manoj, when we talk about the party's preparations, we kind of get a sense of that from both Amethi and Raebareli. But before we talk about its details, can you first tell us what significance these two seats have for the Congress party?
Both Amethi and Raebareli, they have been kind of bastions of the Nehru-Gandhi family. Even if we leave aside Indira Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi, let's talk about the current leadership. When Sonia Gandhi decided to enter electoral politics, she contested for the first time from Amethi way back in 1999 and then moved to Raebareli in 2004. That was when Mr. Rahul Gandhi decided to enter electoral politics. So he contested from Amethi. He has been winning that seat till 2019. In 2019, we all know how he lost to Smriti Irani of the BJP. And Sonia Gandhi, on the other hand, has been winning the seat. She has never lost the seat so far. But now she has opted to move to Rajya Sabha. So in both these seats, there is this huge suspense on whether the Gandhis would contest from, Amethi and Raebareli. Rahul Gandhi has already fighting again from Wayanad in Kerala. The seat goes to polls on April 26. The big question about Raebareli is whether Priyanka Gandhi Vadra would make her electoral debut from that seat. The sense that the local Congress, when I visited both these constituencies, the sense that the local Congress leaders gave was that they believe after April 26, once polling in Wayanad is over, perhaps the Congress would announce the candidatures of both Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Rahul Gandhi from these two seats. But it's surprising given that, when in 2019, the Congress had announced Rahul Gandhi's candidature from Amethi first. Wayanad was then, the surprise package. So the indication that the Congress is giving is that he doesn't want to give that. It's surprising since the Congress believes Wayanad is a relatively safe seat for Rahul Gandhi. That's one question the local Congress leaders ask, that if that is a safe seat for Rahul Gandhi, then why should the party not, announce his candidature from Amethi right away?
Yeah, and that is strange because Amethi is supposed to be one of those seats that Congress is the most confident about.
Yeah, except for 2019, all the top Congress leaders have won that seat. So it's surprising for, the local Congress leaders also that if Rahul finally decides to contest from that seat, then what is stopping the party from announcing his candidature early? Although there is still time, the process for, filing of nomination and all begins on April 26 only. There is still time. But the party has announced candidates for seats which are going in the last phase. In UP itself, there are seats like Varanasi or Maharajganj. There are many seats which is going in the last phase and the party's candidates are already in fray. So that is a surprise element, as to why the Congress is reluctant to announce their candidates from one of their most prestigious seats, which till 2019 was one of the safest seats, considered pocket borough or the bastions of the Gandhi family, but there is still no candidate. So that was surprising. Even the local Congress leaders were surprising. There is no clarity on whether the Gandhis would contest at all, although they are very confident that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra would make her electoral debut from Raebareli and Rahul will contest again from Amethi. But that is kind of a hope, maybe a confidence, but there is no indication from the High Command. I asked, the local Congress leaders, including the district presidents, about whether have they heard from the High Command? Have they heard from the central leadership about the candidatures? So the answer was no. This is our hope. Hame vishwas hai that they will contest. So in that sense, while the campaign of the BJP has moved forward in Amethi, with Union Minister Smriti Irani visiting the constituency twice already, the Congress is in a kind of a limbo. In Raebareli, both the BJP and the Congress have not announced candidates. Perhaps the BJP is also waiting for the Congress whether to see where Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is contesting or not.
And this in a way shows the extent to which things have changed for the Congress. Talk about how the Congress's presence there compares to that of the BJP.
The last elections was the assembly elections of 2022. So, of the 10 assembly segments in both Raebareli and Amethi, the Congress could not win even one seat. In the Amethi Lok Sabha constituency, out of the 5 assembly segments, 3 went to the BJP and 2 to the Samajwadi Party. Remember, there was no alliance between the Congress and the SP then. The Congress came third in all the seats, and in Raebareli, barring one, the Raebareli city seat, the SP, the Samajwadi Party, won all the other seats. So the results of the last elections is, if you go by that, then clearly the Samajwadi Party seems to be in a much better position there. But since the Congress and the SP are now in an alliance, and traditionally the SP has refrained from, contesting both these family seats, even when there was no alliance. So this time, of course, there is an alliance, and the Congress has hope is that, with the help of the SP, which seems to have a, much better organizational presence and support base in both these seats, the Congress believe, they will be able to retain Raebareli and regain Amethi.
And you mentioned that last time it was Smriti Irani who won from Amethi. Now, leading up to the polls, what are the kind of things she's been highlighting in her campaign?
So Smriti Irani won the seat in 2019 and she has some, achievements to showcase in terms of a bypass that she has built, in terms of couple of, a Coca-Cola plant. There are some achievements that of course the BJP would talk about. The Gandhis, on the other hand, they have been representing those two seats for decades, be it the Rajiv Gandhi Udan Academy or be it the huge hospital they had built. So, in terms of achievements, you cannot compare 5-year term with that of years of representing that seat by the other party. But of course, both the sides have achievements to showcase. The question is, it's not just about what the Congress has got for Raebareli or Amethi or what the BJP has got for Raebareli or Amethi. It's a larger equation at play, I think, in Uttar Pradesh, where these seats may go by the larger voting pattern. The Congress, of course, believes that at least these two seats will buck the trend, even if the UP votes in one particular fashion. So the presence of the Gandhis would become very clear once their candidatures are announced and once they hit the campaign trail. Smriti Irani, she has built a house in Amethi. She held the housewarming ceremony in February. She has moved into that house. She has become an voter of Amethi.
5 साल पहले मैं अमेठी से सांसद बनी। लगभग 5 दशकों से गांधी खानदान का ये स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड माना जाता था। भारत की राजनीति में इस एक लोकसभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के बारे में ये कहा जाता था कि यहाँ से सिर्फ वही व्यक्ति जीतेगा जो गांधी खानदान में या फिर गांधी खानदान के आशीर्वाद से इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस के कैंडिडेट के नाते यहाँ से चुनाव लड़ेगा। जब मैं आई तो मेरे पास
So now there is a new equation there. Now the BJP claims that she is the local, she resides in Amethi, she is a voter of Amethi, whereas Rahul Gandhi is now the outsider, contesting from Wayanad and residing in Delhi. So there is a new challenge at hand for the Congress, where a seat represented by Rahul Gandhi for 3 consecutive terms, every time he visits Amethi, he has this standard line saying Amethi is his family or Raebareli is family. The people are part of the Congress family, of the Nehru Gandhi family. So now there is a new challenge for Rahul Gandhi to reconnect with the people in the face of this, the MP moving in there, becoming a voter. So that's kind of a new situation which Rahul would face if at all he decides to contest.
So on one hand, you have someone who has moved in there, while on the other, you have someone who has barely visited the place since the last polls.
Yeah, he has visited Amethi only 4 times since 2019 after he was defeated, and twice he went during the assembly election of 2022 for campaigning, addressing a rally and going back. And the recent visit was when the Bharat Jodo Yatra passed through Amethi and Raebareli. So then again, it was not an extended visit, the Yatra passed through. So that is clearly one issue which people there talk about. They say whosoever is the MP, even if that person, doesn't bring that kind of development which they expect, at least the MP should be there for them to, to meet. Or once in a while, the MP should be visiting the constituency. So the general refrain is that era is over when you file the nomination paper, wave at people and then leave and then return once again, just address a couple of rallies and then leave. So that clearly was the sense, that era is over.
And in that sense, this is a common complaint that people have about the party, right? That it's not connected to people on the ground, especially when we compare it to the BJP. Was Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra supposed to compensate for that in a way?
Yeah, one idea was, to address this concern that Rahul is aloof. He only visits state when there are elections. He doesn't meet people. He spends most of the time in Delhi. So that was one of the ideas that, he will walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, that the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the first Yatra, where he can interact with people. People can, tell him their grievances or their aspirations. So the whole idea of this senior Congress leader, a member of the Nehru Gandhi family, a former Congress president, walking the street, meeting with people, clicking photographs or, shaking hands, talking to them, interacting with, select groups during the yatra. So that was this whole idea where you present the leader as a person who is going to, their doorstep, to states, to hear out the people.
Chali, 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 Bharat Jodo Yatra chali, 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 chali.
And the second yatra, of course, due to paucity of time, was the hybrid yatra, where he travelled by bus. Even then he got out, but one complaint I heard from in Amethi was that he did not stop at many places where Congress leaders had organized, these welcome pit stops where they could garland him and welcome him. But the bus didn't stop at many places, which as they expected. So that again was one complaint where I heard in Amethi. So the whole idea was about the yatra, as we were talking, was rebrand Rahul as a leader who is willing to listen to the people, who is willing to interact with the people, and who is ready. Once it was often said that he's a reluctant politician. So, shrug off that tag that he's no more reluctant. He is a 24/7 politician.
राहुल गांधी आपके दिमाग में है, मैंने मार दिया उसको, वो है ही नहीं, मेरे माइंड में है ही नहीं, गया, वो गया। जिस व्यक्ति को आप देख रहे हो वो राहुल गांधी नहीं है, वो आपको दिख रहा है.
Right, one of the main functions of the Bharat Jodo Yatra was to rebrand Rahul Gandhi, but could you talk about the extent to which the party was able to capitalize on the yatra in individual states?
In terms of follow-up to build that organizational structures, I think the party has not made much progress there. Because if you remember, the first yatra entered in January, February of 2022. And immediately after that, the focus of the party was assembly elections in Karnataka, which the party won. And a major part of the credit was then given to Rahul and his yatra, which had passed through Karnataka.
The Congress party has got a thumping victory in the Karnataka elections, winning in 135 out of 224 seats, getting a clear majority. The BJP has lost the only South Indian state that it ruled, so the party ruling at the centre has been wiped out completely from the whole of South India. The BJP has...
And immediately after that was the formation of the India bloc. The couple of meetings that happened back to back from, Patna, Bangalore, Mumbai. And then the Congress went straight into the next round of assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. So organizationally, there was not much follow-up in that sense. It was minimal. Then after the big setback in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, after that assembly elections having lost all the three states, the party went into, a phase of dormancy without much activity. And then, of course, the preparations began for the Lok Sabha election. So organizationally, there wasn't much follow-up after the first yatra, and the second yatra just ended in February, in March, when we were in the middle of the campaign. So organizationally, nothing much was done to capitalize, if at all the Congress believes that the yatra was a popular initiative.
And Manoj, the other crisis that the Congress has been facing is its party workers jumping ship and joining the BJP. We've seen that happen in a number of states, most prominently in Madhya Pradesh, where thousands have left to join the BJP. So how worried is the party about that?
As far as the Congress is concerned, barring a couple of leaders, they believe none of the leaders who have switched sides recently have any, ground support, or they were not organizationally big enough leaders to, take a large chunk of party workers or the organization with them. So perhaps they were worried about Ashok Chavan, leaving the party in Maharashtra, or a couple of leaders like that. But of course, the Congress accept that the string of exits by leaders cutting across states is a blow, is a setback in terms of optics. It sends across that political message that, people are jumping a sinking ship. So that damage, of course, the Congress party understands. But organizationally, they don't believe they stand to lose with the kind of leaders who have switched sides. But having said that, I can sense a change in the party's mood, maybe perhaps in the last fortnight, because they began the campaign for these elections in a slightly despondent mood. But now there seems to be some sense of hope even in North Indian states. While the party was very hopeful of its performance in Kerala, Karnataka to some extent, Telangana to a large extent, and with the help of DMK in Tamil Nadu, there was little hope. A month ago, when you speak to Congress leaders, there was not much hope in terms of the party staging a comeback in the Hindi heartland, the North Indian states. But somehow there is a sense in the party now is that it's not that bad. Incremental gains can be made in some of the states, including Rajasthan, including Gujarat, Maharashtra, in Bihar. So there is a sense of hope.
And where is that hope coming from? Is it coming from what it's hearing from people on the ground, or how the alliances have worked out?
As far as alliance is concerned, the party had to, give in to most of the allies. Even the choice of seats, maybe they must have got the number of seats they wanted, but in Bihar, in Maharashtra, even in Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, they did not get the seats that they wanted. That apart, the sense of hope which I was just telling you, is coming not from alliances per se. The Congress believes that all is not well in the BJP in some of the regions of these states, including Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Bihar. So they believe, of course, these are all claims made during election time. So we'll have to, take it with a pinch of salt. But they believe there is some sort of tension in some of the seats in many of the heartland states. So the hope is coming from the reports that they're getting from their internal feedback mechanism or from what is being reported in the media, in the mainstream media or in the social media about how in some of the seats, the BJP is facing some kind of internal tensions, internal feud over the choice of the candidates. They had denied tickets to almost 100 sitting MPs so far. So this perhaps is translating into some sort of hope for the party. They say the manifesto of the Congress has reached the ground, but as I had visited Amethi and Rae, two of the VIP seats of the Congress, so to say, but when you talk to people, they have no inkling about the promises that the Congress has been making. So that is the one big challenge that the Congress has. Drawing up a manifesto, coming out with it is easy, but to, taking it to the ground is another big challenge that the Congress is facing.
And Manoj, when talking about the Congress manifesto, it is making a lot of promises, from lifting the 50% cap on quota for SCs, STs and OBCs and adding reservation in private educational institutions. It promises a legal guarantee on MSP and cash transfers for women.
ये मैनिफेस्टो बंद कमरों में नहीं बना. ये मैनिफेस्टो हजारों लोगों से बातचीत करके, किसानों से मिलकर, मजदूरों से मिलकर, महिलाओं से, बुजुर्गों से बातचीत करने के बाद यह मैनिफेस्टो बना है. और इस पे जरूर हमने कांग्रेस पार्टी का निशान लगाया है, मगर सचमुच में यह जनता का मैनिफेस्टो है, यह कांग्रेस पार्टी का नहीं है, यह आपका है.
So Manoj, what can we tell about what Congress is thinking based on these promises, based on what it's saying in its manifesto?
Of course, they have kept some of the contentious issues off the table, be it the promise that, restoring the old pension scheme which they had made in the recent assembly elections. There are many contentious issues that, if you go back to the 2019 manifesto of the Congress, if you remember, they had made a promise to dilute AFSPA, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, about, scrapping the sedition law. So the 2019 Lok Sabha election happened in a very nationalistically charged atmosphere after the Pulwama attack and the Balakot response. So then it was felt that those kind of promises were completely misplaced. So this time the Congress has been more pragmatic, keeping most of the contentious issues out of the manifesto and focusing more on, these welfare promises that they're making, many of which you listed out just now. So in that sense, the Congress believes it's a positive manifesto, because the one charge that the Congress has often faced is that they are unable to, create a narrative, tell a story to a voter. Why should a voter in 2024 vote for the Congress against the BJP, which has been in power for 10 years, a stable government in that sense? So that story, which the Congress has often faced this charge that they don't have a compelling narrative and a compelling story. So with this manifesto, the Congress seems to have addressed some of those aspects. They have come out with a set of alternative promises. It cannot call it a completely new vision or an alternative vision, but there are some promises which they can talk about. So these will form the talking points of the campaign, instead of waging a completely negative campaign against the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So it's a conscious attempt to bring in a bit of, positive aspect to the campaign.
But Manoj, does the party get a sense that those who will be voting for the Congress will essentially be voting against the BJP? Is that what they think will work in their favor?
So the Congress wanted to, wage a positive as well as a negative campaign. So the first phase of the campaign was slightly a negative one, which the party itself tells us. It was about, finding fault with the BJP government's policies, attacking the BJP government. And the second phase is largely, which the party calls a positive campaign. If you happen to listen to FM radio, there is something called a KYC, Know You Congress. So that's a spot advertisement that the Congress has come out with, where they're dipping into history and telling you the Congress's quote-unquote contribution and achievements in the last 50, 60 years when they were in power. So the second phase is largely the positive campaign, where the party is trying to address that criticism that it is unable to, weave a narrative most of the times. In 2019, one of the major criticism was that the Congress's campaign was all against the BJP, where the main issue was the Rafale controversy with the Chaukidar Chor Hai, and of course the Manifesto promise of Nyay. So these were the two pillars of the Congress campaign then. But it was seen as a more negative campaign than a positive one. So this time the party is trying to address that, where they hope that they will be able to spin a narrative, they will be able to, project a narrative. But it's, of course, we will have to see how the campaign takes shape, and of course we will have to see the results, the outcome to, say whether it was effective, whether it was credible or not. But the party believes its campaign would be oriented more towards projecting a vision.
You were listening to Three Things by The Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.